Hey world, you're listening to Globethotter, the pod that puts the lover in travel lover. I'm your host, Cassie Martinez, and each week I trade tales with a slew of amazing adventurers who, like me, kiss and tell. First of all, hello, good to see you. It's been a minute, has it not? Today marks the official 1 month mark that I've been back in the States. For those that don't know, I spent the last 3 months hosting Globethotter's inaugural set of group trips to Portugal. And you guys, the stories I have for you. Euro summer, baby. It never disappoints, does it? So I thought I'd start things off this season with a look back at Globethotter's wild summer in Portugal. Because who doesn't love a little post-trip kiki session, right? To help spill the tea with us today, we've got Jazz, an absolute gem and attendee from group trip number 5, which went down over the course of 6 steamy days this past July. Jazz was an integral part of my wildest group yet, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. We regularly partied till sunrise, laughed our asses off, and left a trail of cuties in our wake. In this episode, we're divulging all the tea from our time together. And we're also sharing our tried and true tips for sparking romance with only the most considerate of cuties that actually deserve you, as well as setting boundaries with those who don't. And finally, stay tuned as we share some priceless pointers for having the best time on a group trip, whether it be with 6 strangers from the internet like we did, or your besties from back home. And for the sake of your mental health, as well as the sanctity of your lifelong friendships, trust me, you're gonna wanna listen to this advice. If all this group trip talk has you itching to escape with us next time, I've got just the getaway coming up this February for you. We're kicking things off in 2023 with a wild Valentine's Day trip south of the border to Sayulita, Mexico. Just picture it. Amazing beaches, delicious food, sexy surfers, and with group activities like a sunset sail, hour-long beach massages, and nightly bar crawls, this group trip taking place in a tucked-away beach town just 1 hour away from Puerto Vallarta truly has it all. To check out the trip's full itinerary and learn how to secure your spot, click the link in this episode's description or go to globethotter.net. There, you'll also find Globethotter's 2023 group trip calendar, which details all the amazing locations we'll be hitting in the new year, broken down season by season. So, without any further ado, buckle up and lift those tray tables, because Globethotter is taking off. Welcome, Jazz. Welcome to the Globethotter podcast. How you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good. Thank you for having me on. How are you?
I'm doing well. We were just chatting before going live of like, what does it feel like to be home after such a crazy summer?
Oh my gosh, and like coming back to real life.
You said you were like, how did you do this for 3 months? I was like visibly shaking after 1 week together.
After 1 week of like, living our best life in Lagos, I came home and I just could not put a single thought together cohesively for like a week or something.
No thoughts, just vibes.
That was our whole slogan for the trip. No thoughts, just vibes.
So for those of you that don't know, Jazz was on trip 5 of the 6 different Globetrotter group trips to Portugal. And I've got to say, Jazz was a key member of my wildest group yet. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm proud to hold that accolade. And oh my gosh, our group was just so much fun. Everyone had such a unique style, personality. I was a little like apprehensive at first, like, are we gonna mesh?
Yeah.
And it ended up just like being perfect. We all balanced each other out, brought each other's like wild side out. Yeah, amazing.
So true. I definitely was like, dude, the spark here is unmatched. And I'll say for like every trip, maybe they weren't as wild as you, but algorithmically, like everybody just made sense together. And I can take no part in that other than like, it was sign up as you go. Like people were grouped by an order in which they put their deposit in, and then I would have a Zoom with them, just a vibe check. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there was no like matchmaking quality. So like the vibes on each trips were truly immaculate, and it was just fate.
Mm-hmm. And I think everyone came with such an open energy and open heart of like, I really just want to connect and, meet people that are trying to do their thing out there and have a good time. And that was really nice, really special.
That's so So true. So let's get down to basics, Jazz. Where are you coming from today?
I'm coming from my hometown of El Paso, Texas. I'm here like on the westward tiny tip of Texas.
Yes. The thing about El Paso, I'm also a border town gal from Texas. Everyone thinks that I'm from where Jazz is from. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I'm from the South. I'm from a border town in Texas. And they're like, El Paso. And I'm like, nope, think lower. While we might be from different towns, like honestly, vibes super similar.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a quick lowdown of like what it's like growing up in a border town like El Paso?
Yeah, it's such a unique experience. And I think if you meet anyone from a border town, they all kind of have the same kindness, openness, just very nice, very like easygoing, because living here in El Paso, it's really a dichotomy of like how an imaginary border creates different lives for people, right? So on my side in El Paso, we're one of the safest cities in the country. It's very mellow, very laid back. Like you've got your family here, very family oriented. And then we have Juarez on the other side, Ciudad Juarez, which is so much fun, so cool, vibes immaculate, but you know, it's kind of notorious for being dangerous. And so the realities are really different, and it's strange because you grow up here and you go to school and you have people that are coming from Juarez, you have people that are in El Paso, and just seeing like you guys are trying to do the same thing, but one has a lot more obstacles to get there than the other.
Yes.
I used to kind of feel like this, I don't know if you've ever felt this kind of this guilt of being on the US side. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're putting it beautifully, honestly. I mean, like growing up here, like I was always in like a minority majority setting, as were you. When I went to college was when I was finally around majority, like actually Caucasian people. It's like, oh, you know, it's such a different way of life. And I think you put it really well of like, you get introduced to what borders mean really early, right? And like, I think it's really like a Globetrotter perspective to be like, what the fuck? Borders are so imaginary. Like, why can't I just like overstay this visa?
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%, you get a completely different life. I grew up going to high school with some people that were coming across the border every single day.
Exactly. And it makes you feel, I think, a bit more grateful, a bit more understanding of the world and how it really is. You know, we can get stuck in such this Americanized view of like, you know, we take some things for granted. Like we are safe. We can walk around as like women, like by ourselves.
Yeah. And also just passport privilege in general.
Yes, exactly.
We can go back and forth willy-nilly, and they can't come this way without quite a few obstacles, like you put it.
Yeah, exactly. And we can go to Mexico like on the drop of a dime, you know?
Yes. And on that note, how often do you find yourself in Mexico?
Oof. This year I've been trying to go like at least every month. I tell people being in Mexico is my favorite place to be. It's just such a grounding vibe. It's just so beautiful. The people, the food. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. It really wasn't until like my adult years that I started going to Mexico. Well, first of all, independently. Who are you when no one's looking? Who are you when you're not on that trip with your mom and dad?
Yeah.
And how do you immerse yourself in that culture?
Yeah. And growing up on a border town too, it's like you grow up in America and you have this view of America. But as like a child, I never really got exposed to like visiting Mexico and like, you know, going back to the roots. So as an adult, it's so special, you know, creating that own heritage for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it's right there waiting for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. So on that note, what are some of your favorite destinations in Mexico?
Ooh.
Can you put us onto something different than that typical Cancun, Cabo vibe?
Girl, yes. Okay, so Cancun is a good jumping off point because there's so many like towns and islands around it. I'll give you guys like my favorite place ever that's kind of like on the come up. So I would suggest visiting soon before it gets like super popular. It's this little island outside of Cancun, like 2 hours away, and it's called Isla Holbox, and it's spelled like Hallbox. And it's so cool. So you take a bus from Cancun, 2 hours, you get to a ferry, you take a ferry over to this little island, and there's no cars. It's all golf carts all over the island. There's like motorbikes and stuff like that. And the beach is just like pristine, gorgeous. And yeah, there's quite a party scene as well.
Yes, I love that. I honestly love these little Mexican beach towns where there are more golf carts than cars.
It's so special. You're just vibing on the golf cart. They're playing reggaeton, it's amazing.
Yes, Bad Bunny plays softly in the background.
Sheds tear, yes.
Amazing. Take notes on that, guys, because like Jazz was saying, it's definitely on the come up. So jumping back to the Globetrotter group trip, which you signed up for that went down this past July in Portugal, I want to hear what made you sign up for it? Like what drew you in?
I had been following your page for a little minute and I was like, this girl is just like living her best life, like seems so cool. And I saw you were coming out with these group trips. So I was like keeping an eye out. And earlier this year, I was like, I need to go to Europe. I need to just like have a great trip, go live my life. And I was in Mexico at the time. And you were like, one last spot opened up. And I was like, fuck it, just book.
Yeah.
Think later, no thoughts, just vibes.
Yep.
So it was really, I think it was destiny.
Yes. Right time, right place. And to give you a little bit of mindset too, like I was originally just going to do 4 trips.
Oh, wow.
Like that was done deal. And I remember I was on like a little family vacation at a local beach nearby. And I sat there and I was like, there's time, there's space, and I feel up for it. Like, let's open these trips up. I went on Airbnb. I found our little apartment for the weekend in Lisbon. And I was like, this is real. Like this can happen. And I feel up for it. And so I opened up the spot and like all that to say, like our trip didn't even happen. Almost.
Wow, that's insane.
So jumping over to like that day before your flight, you're about to go meet 6 strangers on another continent. What's going through your mind? Like what mentality do you feel like you have to have?
So it was really a like, fuck it, let's go, like, let's make this happen. But it hadn't like really hit me that I was going on this trip with a bunch of strangers until maybe like 2 days before. And I remember like getting on the flight, I was like, oh man, like, I hope, everyone's nice. Like, I hope our personalities don't clash. Like, am I going to be a bit too much? Like, what are they going to want to do? Like, go out, be kind of homebody. So I was a bit nervous beforehand. And maybe like the first day I was a little reserved and like shy to gauge the vibe. But I think in situations like this, you really just have to keep an open heart, open mind. You're going with a group of like-minded people that probably share like these similar characteristics of like, just being kind and open. And when you put that out into the world, I'm like a firm believer that that's what you're going to attract.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to roll with the punches.
Yes, 100%. At the end of the day, like this is like an intimate squad. While you are strangers, like you said, everybody, when they pressed book, when they put that deposit down, had the best intentions and were like, I want to have a good time.
And you got to be ready to rally, girl.
Oh, yes, 100%. You guys, typically on group trips, like I give myself a whole like Sunday free day for the group to kind of do their own thing and maybe like stay in one of the other nights, right? No, that didn't happen with group number 5. It was every single night we were out in the streets.
Oh my gosh. And every night was just spectacular, like out of a movie. All of us dancing on top of a table, living our best life, fans galore.
Yes. Oh my God. Like we just saw this in the news the other day that Europe is currently seeing its biggest heat wave since the Renaissance. I'm not talking Beyonce. I'm talking the real back when Renaissance. And we were there for it. Fans fanning.
We didn't care though, because we were just like having the time of our life.
Truly. We just had to be strategic about like when to open and close windows, as everybody else in Europe was. Like it was new for us, but the vibe, honestly, this is what I think about hostels too. Like you could go to a hostel and it is like hanging by a thread physically. But if the vibe is good, you're like, yeah, 5 out of 5. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and the hostel we stayed at was so central to everything. I think that was the most fun part of like getting ready, the whole ritual, and then you literally walk out the door and you're just in the middle of everything.
Yes, that's a big key thing. Like this trip basically Lisbon and Lagos. Lisbon is a big city. We were on our big city girl shit the first 3 days, right? But big city means Ubers and longer queues for drinks, etc. And then we go down to the beach, and I am openly biased. Like the second half, Lagos is my favorite part. I absolutely adore it. Just like Jazz said, you get ready, you're in the dorm, like Bad Bunny's playing, the vibes are great. And then all you got to do to get the party started is go upstairs to the common room with a cocktail. And people are playing drinking games, getting to know each other. Fast forward an hour or two later, you're hitting the streets. And the hostel is a 5-minute walk from the beach, and even less than that to get to the best bars. So you're just so central, and you meet people so easily.
It's so easy to talk to people in that kind of scenario, and easy to find your way back home, let me say.
Yes. You can either get back to the hostel like a good girl or be like, oh, do you want to go see the sunrise on the beach together?
I don't know what vibe I was on, but like literally the last 4 nights, every night I was like, gotta see the sunrise, gotta walk to the beach, same beach, see that sunrise.
I love it. So on our first night out, you had a celebrity run-in of sorts. We were at one of my favorite bars, Park. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yes. Well, first of all, that place Park vibes are immaculate. So much fun. So yeah, we're out and about. I think we're leaving the bar at this point, and I'm just like staring at this little hottie. I'm like, how do I know you? And then I'm like checking my phone. He's like this big fashion guy influencer that I follow. And I'm like getting shy. I'm like, should I go up to him? Should I not? So I do. And at a time where I needed to spit game the most is when I spit the worst game of my life.
Oop, what'd you tell him?
He was with his friend, and I was like, oh yeah, I follow you on Instagram. Granted, he has like his arm around me. I'm like trembling. This man is so beautiful. And I'm like, I don't even know like why I follow you. Like, and his friend is like in the background, like, girl, you know why you follow this man.
I don't even know why.
Yeah, like so rude. I was like, what am I doing? Like at a time where I could have been like, so where's the after? Like, let's grab a drink. Could have been suave. No.
Oh my God.
All the best to him.
It really is like all about the approach. Like I feel like, because when you're traveling, oddly enough, like you run into some of the craziest faces. Like before we even entered Park that night, I saw on the sidewalk hanging outside Eric Andre.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a super like noteworthy comedian here in the States, but also like globally. He's just rowdy, raunchy. And we had this direct eye contact where he was like, are you going to come up and make this a thing, or are you going to like let me be? And I was like, I'm going to let you be. Like I did not make a thing of it, but like Park truly is. Like if you want to have maybe possibly a celebrity sighting, you want to dance on top of a parking structure turned into club, yeah, you're going to want to go to Park. It's right next to Barrio Alto. They spin some of the best music. And again, like you said, vibes on par. And you might just run into an influencer.
Girl, and just have something ready to say. That is my advice.
Ooh, yes. If we take something with us at the end of this episode, like what is it you're going to say when you run into somebody like that? Because it's not a big deal unless we make it a big deal.
Exactly. And like, if you just got something like back of the napkin, I got this, you never know what could happen. You could wake up to a Greek god. I don't know.
So are we going to drop the handle, or who was this?
I don't know how to say his last name, but his first name's Andrew.
This is an episode Easter egg.
Yes.
Like if you want to find him, go to Jazz's Instagram.
Yeah. See if you can spot this gorgeous man that you can obviously tell I'm having a panic attack in the picture, but he's so hot and suave.
Ah, yes. Easter egg. So on day 2 in Lisbon, we went on this epic boat party called Lisbarco. I'm telling you, this itinerary was just like chock full, I swear. But yeah, on day 2, we're at this epic boat party, and this is where you had one of your most romantic ass moments. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, I can. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's just set the scene here on this boat.
Yes, please.
Okay, you walk into this boat. There's a DJ, everyone's dancing, it's linen vibes. We're sailing into the sunset. And then there's this whole area in front of the dance floor where, everyone can like kind of sit in nets above the water and kind of mingle.
Yes.
So we're all dancing, having a good time until the night. And I'm up on this net and I see a little hot Frenchman coming towards me. And yeah, he starts, talking in French with this girl next to me, and then he comes up to me. And, I was kind of like, is this guy cool or not? Because he was like popping bottles of champagne sort of thing earlier. So I was like, But yeah, he was very straightforward and very romantic in the way he was whispering things in my ear.
Oop.
Yeah, so we were sitting there and just enjoying the lights and, kissing. I was giving a little no at first, like, no, don't want to kiss, don't want to do that. And he was just very persistent man. But yeah, glad I gave in because he was so sweet. I think the thing was that he was kind of drunk when he came up to me. And I was unsure. And then once he started sobering up, that's when it started like turning romantic, va-va-voom, ooh la la.
A little ooh la la moment.
Yeah, and he was just the sweetest, holding my hand, telling me about France and getting angry when I was like, are you from Paris? He's like, there's more to France than Paris.
So cute.
He was just adorable, and we were like on the dance floor. And I think at one point he told you like, this is my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. This is my favorite part of the story, honestly. You set up the scene so well. We're on this massive boat, a catamaran, if you will, like with those nets that you're talking about where you can just like literally just like lounge and live your best life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know when you guys sparked it off. Honestly, I did not notice. I was like on the dance floor getting my life the entire time. And then like all of a sudden you were booed up. Like, I swear, this was my favorite part. Like, I was in line for the bathroom. I go and knock on the door, go down the ladder to knock on this, like, below deck bathroom. And this French guy pops out of nowhere from above deck and goes, oh, sorry, my girlfriend is in there. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then it opens the door and it's you. I was like, oh, your girlfriend's up in the bathroom. Okay.
Yeah, like we just spent the whole night like gazing at the lights, I was learning French, whispering sweet nothings, and then we get off the boat and we're like, so what's the move? And yeah, it ended very romantically.
That's what we'll say. That's what we'll say. I think you were truly like a magnet on this trip. Like that was one of the first things I noticed about you when we went out. That, I mean, you were just pulling in so many quality interactions and just like so many little moments that I was like, yes, she's done her shit. She is on a good, positive wavelength and people resonate with that.
Oh, thank you.
Has it always been this way for you? How have you cultivated these boundaries over times that just like attract in these like amazing moments?
I think this is actually kind of new to me, and it's nice because I think I used to kind of attract the opposite, which was, you have to learn, I guess, how to let people approach you because, I used to get these lesser quality interactions and always this, I just want something from you, and you were like a little bit objectified. And I don't know. I think maybe it was a change in my mindset. I just hold myself highly and respect and love myself. And I think that when I'm talking to anyone, that's kind of the vibe I'm giving off. Like, if I'm with you, you've got my full attention. Like, I'm experiencing this moment with you. And I don't think that interests people that are just out to,
Yeah, because that's a thing, when entering the nightlife world, whether it is in your backyard or across, the country or on a whole other continent, like we are such attractors. We're mirrors. Like, what are we bringing in? And it's all about like, firstly, our relationship with ourselves. And like you said, like how we hold ourselves first and foremost.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's big. I noticed for myself as well, like, I mean, this was my first big, like, go across the Atlantic trip since before COVID, right? And I was a whole other woman then, like 4 or 5 years ago, like last time that I went on a backpacking journey in Europe.
Yeah.
And what I was pulling in was so radically different too. Like I was having, like we keep saying, like these higher quality interactions where like doesn't mean like, oh my God, this person's my boyfriend or anything, but like what you have is full of respect and just like mutual, like, hey, I'm in this moment with you and it's a beautiful one. Like, let's just be good to each other in it.
Yeah, exactly. And oh my gosh, like the people I got to meet, I'm so fortunate were the guys, the interaction with guys. They were so respectful, like not trying to force anything, walking me home, holding my hand. So it's really, it's what we deserve and it's the inner work we do. And you just have to hold yourself on a pedestal. I mean, not like, oh, I'm better than everyone, but you know, you are a prize.
Ooh, so true. So true. And if that turns off the wrong person, that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave space for something better, something more aligned.
Yeah, the minute I feel like a guy just like trying to spit game at me, trying to be slick, I'm like immediately like, I'm good. I'm gonna exit myself. Thank you.
Yeah. Because there's definitely like shadow side to globethotting. Like when things become like a numbers game or just like a prize, like in a bad way. Like,
yes.
You know, I'm talking like belt notch kind of thing. Like, no. At the end of the day, globethotters, we're romantics.
We are.
So, as I've said before, y'all were simultaneously my wildest and tightest group trip yet. We went balls to the wall every night, particularly when we were in Lagos. You and Shreya actually even beat me. You went out an additional night after the trip was over. Like, what was it? What was about Portugal that just had us all so feral?
Oh my goodness. Okay, that is a great question. I've never gone that hard and felt so great. You know, we'd be up until like 8 a.m. and then we'd be, you know, sleeping for a bit and I'd be like, let's go again.
Yeah.
There was actually one night that I came home and I had slept 1 hour and like I had come home like in the afternoon and you guys were like, we're going out again. I'm like, okay.
Deep inhalation and like, okay.
Something was in the air. It was just like, you're in the moment. People are here together, just enjoying everything. And Shreya and I, like, we looked at each other because we shared an Airbnb and we're like, should we stay in? And we're like, nope, let's get ready. Like, we're only here once.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like Portuguese nightlife starts so late that you could, you know, theoretically be hungover all day.
Yeah.
Feel like crap and be like, I'm not going out, never again. And then time winds closer. People from the hostel start getting ready or like you start getting texts about like some sort of event and you're like, well, I could go, you know, and you rally.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Shreya and I were just like on the hunt that night. We put on red lipstick and we were like, let's go meet some cuties. Let's go out with a bang.
Yes. When Jazz puts on that lippy,
Oof.
You know. I think too, like leading into this trip, each trip we go to yoga, right? At least one of the days when we're in Lagos. And the week before, we went to see this lady. Her yoga spot is called Agni Yoga. She goes by Chandra. She's absolutely amazing. She gives you basically all sorts of like intros to like what tantric yoga is. And so we go as a group and we're there like moving our bodies and like moaning and just like really getting in touch with our bodies and our spirits and like feminine side, our sexy side. And at the end of every session, we pull an oracle card, right? And for 2 weeks in a row, I pulled the Venus oracle card. And basically this card just asks you to really kind of like let love in, let sensuality in. And I was like, you know what? This card ain't wrong. Because I feel like we can all maybe put boundary around our hearts or not let ourselves like fully be vulnerable, right? Or let love in or let intimacy in. And I was like, you know what? This week I'm going to allow, like that was the word, allow, right?
Ooh, yes.
And I think that played a part in me and my feralness as well. For sure. Like, one, you guys were amazing. The energy was out of this world. But I remember at the pool party that week, you guys didn't make it. You were like 10 minutes before it was over. You were like, we're here. I'm like, I don't think they're letting people in.
That was my 1 hour of sleep night. Yep.
Yes. I think that was the day that we were all like, oh, we should rest. And then Shreya, of course, was like, I want to go to the pool party. I just like to really check it out. And we're like, whatever Shreya wants, Shreya gets.
Yes.
So 3 of us went to the pool party. I'm sitting there lounging, sipping a little mojito or something. And this really cute guy is just like all about me, saying hello right away. And I was like, oh, okay. And we exchanged information. It was honestly just giving like adventure buddy at first, like friendly, but like obviously he's super fine. But like I was on my guard naturally. You know, we've just met and it's daytime. Sunrise is so far from now. But anyway, we exchanged information and it's like very quickly like flirty WhatsApps are exchanged. And I remember like the next day was the end of the trip. And I was like, oh, I really want to spend time with him, but I don't want to go out to the bars anymore. I need this week off before the next group trip. Like, all I want is this guy in my apartment right now. And so I was like, F it. I have a really good vibe with this guy and I'm feeling a lot of respect, like we're talking about, a lot of quality interactions. And I'm just going to send that risky text. And it panned out. Like, I was full feral, but like wisely choosing a lover. I'll say that.
Yeah, I remember that. It was so ballsy. I was like, I love that. And like, he was probably so excited. Like, oh my gosh, this girl is like into me. Like, let's go. And he was such a sweetheart.
Yes. Beautiful soul. I'll tell you that. No, no, but like you said, like it was full of respect and also 100% nail on the head of like, oh my gosh, like I'm super like grateful and down. Because sometimes you can send a risky text and that activates like a guy going into like fuckboy mode.
Yes. They're like, oh, I got it.
Yeah. And this guy, he had that like French romance. Like he was very, very in the moment, romantic, holding my face. And like, I kid you not, like this dude like immediately shared location, ETA estimation, and like was like, I will be there at this precise time. And I'm like, thank you. Just like lounging in bed, waiting for my booty call.
Love it. Respects your time, respects, you know, what you're doing.
Totally. And like, look, Miss Globetrotter over here, like I still have those moments like where I was entertaining someone who did not deserve me. Let's correct. Let's correct and like get back into the space of being adored, honey.
And you know what? I think it's so special that after you kind of like opened yourself up to, you know, your more divine feminine, that's kind of what came, because that's exactly my experience of like, I feel like as women, we have to be in our masculine to protect ourselves, to survive. But when we allow ourselves to be soft and allow ourselves not to like always be on edge, it's I think it's very attractive and it just feels good, you know?
Yeah, that's a whole topic of like traveling and like when you're in the right environment and with the right people, like how you can activate that feminine side, right? Because I think, you know, we can get very type A when it comes to travel. I do this, this, and this, and this. But like when it's all just like laid out for you and you're in an amazing beach town and you don't even need a car.
Yes.
Like, and the only thing you have to be up for is like the homemade crepes at the hostel. Like, let your feminine side shine, honey.
Agreed. I think we were all kind of on that vibe as well.
So true. So I feel like each group trip has a soundtrack. What would you say our song was?
Okay, it's definitely going to be Titi Me Pregunto, Bad Bunny, new summer album, because one, the beat of that song is just like so crazy and like upbeat and fun that every day kind of felt like that beat. And then, of course, the lyrics, girl.
Please break down what happens in that song.
So Bad Bunny, my husband, sings about this guy, Titi, asking him why he has so many girlfriends. And he's talking about, well, like, I really like Gabby's. I really like this girl. I have a Colombian that calls me every day. I have this girl I didn't know about. But it's just like a fun dance, easygoing song. It's like you're having a fun summer and being flirty. And that's exactly what we were.
Yes, honey. I feel as well, like I thought you were going to say galletita. Is that how you say it? Calladita?
Calladita.
Calladita. I thought you were going to say that one, but no, that one's too chill. You're 100% right. We needed chaos.
I was thinking calladita, but that one has a little bit of somberness to it, I think.
And we weren't sad.
Yeah, like even leaving, I didn't feel like that after trip sadness too much. I was just full of joy and energy.
Ugh, yes, that's how a trip should end. And a little bit of shaking.
A little bit of trembles, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like having to sit on your suitcase and make it close with your ass.
Yeah, I came home and people were like, what happened to you? Because I had like lost my voice. I was like visibly like looked like I had been having the time of my life for 7 days.
Yes. So on the subject of coming back home, naturally after a trip, the flirty WhatsApps can fizzle out after time. Can we talk about some tips for letting go or turning up the heat strategically?
Ooh. This one is a challenge for me because I don't know if this happens to you as well, but like, you know, when I'm there in a new city with this new person, I just get so hyped and like so overjoyed. And I'm like carrying that energy when I'm back home. So I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? And they're just like, oh, yeah, hey. So I'm trying to keep it a bit more mysterious when I, you know, come back home. But I really do like to keep in touch with lover boys and maybe send a cute selfie here and there just to keep them there.
Yeah, a little something premium content. Can't see this on the story.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. It's so much fun keeping up with those sweethearts you meet and you're like, oh, will I ever see you again? And then you get to see what they're up to and you're like, oh, maybe we'll run into each other again.
Right. Honestly, I feel like my tried and true method is one, if you do have that kind of cadence on WhatsApp and you message back and forth, like continue, have fun with that. But in terms of like slowly letting something like taper down in a way that feels like organic, normal, I just like having people on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like seeing their stories. Stories like lets me keep up in a way that doesn't feel like checking you out too much or like in your space. And then also in terms of like strategically turning up heat, like if you have a trip coming forward, like let it be known if you're going to be in like the same area or whatnot. Like what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
And you really don't go wrong with like always just matching someone's energy. Like I would say like if their WhatsApps become a little bit shorter or whatever, like, you know what? Again, like you reminded me so many times on the trip too, like so many fish in the sea, honey. So many.
And like, why not? Like, why not try and be flirty? Like, for example, like I told these guys I met in Europe, I'm like, you know what? Like, if you ever want to come to Miami, because that's where I'm planning to move, I'm like, come visit. Like, you know, we'll have a little romantic moment.
Yes, totally. I love dropping the like, well, you can come visit.
I'll be your tour guide.
Be bold too. Like there's something to be said for matching people's energies when you notice that they're not matching yours, right? Of course.
Yeah.
But like you abroad, which made you so sexy, which makes anybody so attractive, is bold. Challenge yourself. Continue to be that bold person, like you said. Like bring that energy with you home. See what happens.
Keep the flirty vibes. Why not?
Yes, always live life like a flame emoji.
I love that the heart that has like the fire, like that's how I feel.
Yes, exactly. Just channel that and you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So where is next for you? Can you leave us with some wanderlust?
Ooh la la. Yes. So next, well, I might meet you up in Mexico City, which would be really fun.
Hello. It's coming sooner rather than later.
I know. So that's pending, but for sure, my next spot's going to be Miami. Moving there in 2 months. I've been like apartment hunting. So that's going to be a really nice change.
That's so exciting. Something I also really love about our trips is that everyone's like, okay, so where are we meeting up next year? And we're talking about where everyone's going to be living, you in Miami. I feel like some other folks were like, yeah, definitely going to be spending my summer again in Portugal. Like, it's just really great
And even in the group chat right now, like we're all talking about going to Croatia like next summer, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So honestly, not to plug this trip too much, but like you will be leaving not only with like the experience on that trip, but like a group of friends that like want to travel with you some more.
Yeah.
I honestly saw some folks that at the end of the trip were like, hey, you're also going to Spain? Like, I'll go with you, you know? And it completely puts your travel plans in a completely different direction.
And it's so fun to have like travel girls, you know, that are just down. And, you know, solo travel is very fun, but when you can, you know, clown with your friends, it's more fun.
Oh my God. Yes, for sure. For sure. Well, on that note, how can people keep up with you?
So I'm on Instagram. Oh my gosh, what is even my handle? I have like 5_ jazz, JAZZESP. Yeah, I keep it pretty low key. So if you can find me, holler. But I think there's like 5 or 6 underscores.
Honestly, 5 or 6. We'll try it out. But if you guys want to follow Jazz, you'll see her Instagram handle in this episode's description. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the trips, feel free to DM her or me. Like, let's talk, real talk about like what's coming up in the new year, because Globetrotter has a couple things up our sleeve.
I cannot wait. Oh my goodness.
Yes, reunion. Let's go.
Oh my God, love it.
Enchanté.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to fly back to Portugal after that convo with Jazz. Just saying. Real talk though, I'm hosting another series of group trips to Portugal this upcoming spring. And all I'm gonna say is, this time, don't sleep on securing your spot before the trip sells out. Your plans depend on it. To not miss a single group trip update, be sure to follow Globethotter on Instagram at @thelover_in_travel_lover. Want to link up with like-minded Globethotties all over the world? Find your squad by joining Globethotter's Facebook group. Our Facebook group is a private space to ask all your travel cues, swap stories, and meet up with other adventurers on your wavelength. The Facebook group is also the first to hear about any trips I've got coming up and how you can join me. So, to join the squad, all you gotta do is search Globetrotter Travel Gang on Facebook. The link is also in this episode's description. Let's wrap things up with a juicy voicemail straight off the Globetrotter hotline. Today's voicemail details one of my favorite love matches of the summer season that I saw with my own 2 eyes. Is it obvious that I've been binging Bridgerton? Going down in, you guessed it, Lagos, Portugal, this pair only had eyes for each other all summer long. In a town where, well, that doesn't happen very often. Wishing these cuties the best.
So this last summer, I spent it volunteering at a hostel at a beach town in Portugal. And my very first night that I got there, I was working a pub crawl and I met the most beautiful man I think I've ever seen. And he was also the sweetest guy. And he turned out to be working at the bar that I was supposed to be starting at in the next few days and volunteering at the hostel right next to mine. And it was a little bit of a slow burn at first. I didn't know what was going to happen, but we ended up spending the entire summer together. Almost every day we were together, and it was the most beautiful summer romance. Almost out of a movie. We had an amazing time. We took 2 trips together. We went to Spain for about a week and Belgium for 5 days. And then we ended up having to go back to our own countries. And everybody told us, you shouldn't fall for somebody here. You should have just had fun. That's the end. You guys will never talk again. But we've gone back to our own homes. He went to Germany. I went to Canada. We still talk every day. We FaceTime every day. And now I'm moving to Madrid in 3 weeks. We're supposed to still be seeing each other. So I guess we'll see what will come out of my summer romance.
Enchanté.
Inspired to share your own epic travel story on the Globetrotter hotline? All you gotta do is go to speakpipe.com/Globetrotter or click the link in this episode's description to leave an up to 90-second voicemail detailing your travel tale. A quickie, if you will. Want to stay anonymous? No name is required to leave a voicemail. Till next time, I'm Cassie Martinez.